welcome from Planet Satyam. My name is Pramod Chandrasekhar, and this is an episode, a very special episode of a series called Success Lessons from the World of Sport. This particular episode is called Bouncing Back from Adversity. That's the theme, and we have a studio audience here also, and they're going to ask questions around that theme. But we have a very, very special guest. In fact, those are his initials. Very, very special. And that's the nickname given to this guest by none other than the great Ian Chappell. The great cricketing writer, Peter Roebuck, called him the unsung colossus of Indian cricket. And speaking about his 281 in 2001 at Calcutta, Sunil Gavaskar said, that marked the renaissance of Indian cricket in a way, and the renaissance of Indian cricket's batting strength in a way. So ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to our special guest, very, very special, VVS Laxman. Thank you very much, Lakshman. I know this is your second visit to School of Leadership. You came about 4 or 5 months ago to School of Leadership. And so what's going on in your life since then? You had your daughter, I guess, after that.
Yeah, so quite sleepless nights.
Okay.
Since she was born, she was born November 27th. But it's a good feeling having a daughter. I think we got a complete family now, son and a daughter, and quite happy with that.
And this is your second child. You have a son who's older to the daughter, right?
Yeah, he's just about 2 years. His name is Sarvajit, and he's getting naughty by the day.
Oh, he is? That's quite unlike his dad, actually.
You're not sure.
So, Lakshman, let me start with the big question, and I'm sure this is a question I'm articulating on behalf of a lot of Satyamites here. I'm talking about this very 2001 series. And the Indian team went to Calcutta like underdogs, because there was a horrible defeat at Mumbai, 10-wicket loss to Australia. The Australian team was like a juggernaut. They were winning. They were about to conquer what they call the final frontier. And then you came up with this 281. Before I come to your individual attitude, I want to ask, how was the Indian team at that point of time, and how did their morale change?
Definitely after the Bombay Test match, the morale was down, no doubt about that. But to be very honest, I think we really prepared well for that series. But losing in 3 days was really not the kind of result we wanted. But saying that, we took the confidence that the Bombay Test match could have gone either way, except because of the partnership between Matthew Hayden and Gilchrist, which took the game away from us. I think it was evenly balanced till then. So when we reached Calcutta, I mean, the Indian media and Indian public, they go, if we do well, they take us to the sky, and if we don't do well, they'll just drop us like a hot potato. So I think definitely there was a lot of negativity surrounding us when we reached Calcutta. But because the preparation for the series was so good, we were really determined to do well and come back strongly in the Calcutta Test match against a very formidable Australian side, so-called, the modern invincible side, because they had 16 consecutive wins under their belt, and Steve Waugh termed that series as the final frontier for them, because they always wanted to come and win in India. So when we went to Calcutta, the morale was down, but everyone were quite optimistic that we'll bounce back and win the test match there.
That's very interesting. And when you're talking about the media, I wouldn't have understood you about a month and a half ago. Now I know what it is to be at the receiving end of the media. And so I just want to know, as a team, what exactly do you discuss? Do you find strength in each other? What goes on in your team meetings? And what went on? You hinted that there was some kind of an analysis and stuff like that. How do you motivate each other?
It's very simple. The simple and the biggest motivation for us is representing the country. I think it's a great honor for anyone representing the country. So that's the motivation for the entire team. And especially in circumstances like this, when the whole world is against you, even your so-called well-wishers are talking negative about you, who were quite positive about you probably when we had a good series. That's when I think the entire team comes closer, because it's ultimately what happens within the team which is important, because it's like a family. We call our cricket team as a second family, because most of the time we spend within ourselves. So we definitely had a lot of planning sessions. It's important to introspect what went wrong and prepare in a positive manner find out what were the shortcomings in the previous test match and work out the shortcomings of the Australians, because any team has definitely shortcomings. So we work out the weak points of their batsmen and the strong points of their batsmen, and accordingly develop the strategies, and also introspect and analyze our own weak points, whether it be batting or our bowling plans, if we didn't stick to our plans. So, I firmly believe that the preparation is very important before the match, and the way you prepare eventually shows in the result. So I think we really prepared well before the Calcutta Test match.
That's interesting. And in spite of all that preparation that you just talked about, things were going bad. We had a follow-on, and before that, only 2 teams had ever won a match after going in for a follow-on. But you played pretty well in the first innings. You scored a 59, is that right? And then what was your attitude? What was your personal preparation when you went in to bat?
Firstly, I was quite happy that I got 59 runs in the first innings, especially the manner I got the 59 runs, because I was batting with the number 8, number 9 and number 10 batsmen, and I started dominating, and I was actually, even though they had defensive fields just to put me off strike, but I was able to get boundaries, and I was dominating on the third day morning of the test match. And when I was informed by John Wright immediately after I got out, when I went to the dressing room, John Wright came up to me and told that, would you like batting at number 3? And I said, I love batting at number 3, because that's where I batted right throughout my childhood and early days, and that's the slot where I enjoy batting. So I think John Wright thought that the nature of my game will actually put pressure on the Australians, and the manner I got my runs in the first innings made him to take the decision. And so when I went into bat, firstly, I wanted to start off from 0. It's very easy to start off, because that day morning itself, I got 59 runs. It's easy to start off from, say, 59. So it was very important for me to start from 0, again settle down, take my time, and take my time, and then eventually play my shots. And that's what I did. I settled down, and luckily we had a very good opening partnership between Das and Ramesh. And that actually laid the foundation for us. And I just went out and played my shots, and everything fell in place. And the one thing which I remembered was my knocks in domestic cricket, because when I was batting for Hyderabad, usually I was the mainstay of the Hyderabad batting lineup, and the previous season I had almost, I think, 11 consecutive hundreds for Hyderabad in the first class season, and in that I got one big triple hundred and one big double hundred. So I think I took the confidence from those innings that I was in a similar situation then, even though we were not following on, but my knock of 300 or 200 helped the team to win the game. So I just had the same thought processes what I had in those matches, which is very simple. Sometimes such situations will get the best out of you is because your mindset is very blank. You're actually not thinking too much, and you're just going out and following your instincts instead of thinking too much about what's going to happen in future. You're just thinking about what's your role at that present moment and concentrating and staying in the present, which is so important for all of us in various walks of life. Is staying in present and doing the best you can do in that moment. So I think that made the task very simple, and I just enjoyed and played my natural game.
Very, very meaningful. I mean, start from 0, staying in the present, focus on the present, take each ball as it comes. I've heard that being said too. But then it was not so easy. I mean, you make it sound so easy, Lakshman. Shane Warne, and he's a master strategist. We've seen him as the captain of Rajasthan Royals last year at the IPL. He's a great strategist. And he packed the leg side. And he was bowling on the foot marks outside the leg stump. And still you went and did the inside out and hit it in the vacant offside. I mean, how did you really work against these master strategists? Steve Waugh, Shane Warne?
Yeah, I'm sure Steve Waugh and Shane Warne may be not getting along, which they usually
After
don't
that
get
match?
along. No, I mean, I just played my natural game. I practiced, as I said earlier, that the preparation is so important. It wouldn't come just straight away in a match. I practiced those shots in nets. I had the privilege to practice against some quality spinners in Hyderabad, where you had Venkatpati Raju, who played for the country, or Arshad Ayub, or Kanwaljit Singh, were top class spinners. So I practiced these shots day in and day out, and I was quite confident, because as I said, I was just following my instincts, and instincts come with preparation, and I played my natural game. I didn't play shots which were out of my book or repertoire, and I was very happy that I could frustrate someone like Shane Warne, who is always there on top of the batsman, who doesn't make the batsman's life easy on the crease, and so him getting frustrated was a great sight for me to see that day.
Was there sledging?
Yes and no. Because after a stage, actually they were applauding each and every shot of mine. So initially yes, because myself and Rahul, we were the last recognized player, and they wanted to get at least one of us out, because then they could bowl to the tailenders, and they were definitely sledging, and they were trying to distract both of us, but saying that sometimes that works for you. And after a stage, they were, especially I remember Gilchrist applauding some of my shots, which sometimes helps, because you think that then the oppositions are quite helpless. And so it was a mixture of sledging and also applause from the opposition.
No wonder Gilly wanted to be with you in Deccan Chargers after he saw you bat that day. And talking about your preparation, after you crossed that great important milestone of 100 tests, Rahul Dravid wrote an article. He revealed a lot of secrets about you. And he said Lakshman is the quintessence of being cool and calm in the dressing room. He's always with a Walkman. I wonder if you read that article. And he said, and sometimes he even gets time for a nap. And I was just wondering, I want you to talk about it, because the rest of what we see is the Indian cricket. We see Ganguly biting his nails away. And you get time for a nap, you're cool and calm. How do you do that?
Well, again, it's a routine. Probably Ganguly biting his nails must be his routine. Yeah, whereas I follow various routines. It depends what kind of mindset I am in at that moment. I listen to a lot of books or read. I listen a lot of music before going into bed, or sometimes take a nap. One of the psychologists told the importance of a power nap. So I try to take a power nap, but it ends up taking a longer nap than just 20 minutes, which is required for a power nap. So it just keeping myself fresh, before going into bed, and sometimes. My colleagues get really amused with my ways of relaxing or preparing before going into bed. But that's what I've done over the years. Whether I'm playing a club match or whether I'm playing a first class match or a test match, that are the routines. And that's why I firmly believe that your routines, whatever gets you the results, you have to follow that. And these are some of the ways I keep myself fresh before going in. Because sometimes it happens where you watch the game continuously before going into bed, and if suppose there's a long partnership, you're mentally drained. It's as if you're actually going and batting, because you focus so much because of the intensity of the game. So it's always better to just wind away from the game and just relax. And I think the best form is either by taking a nap or listening to music, because you're diverting your attention from the actual game which is going on.
There's a lot to learn from you, Lakshman. I'm more the Ganguly kind. They hardly have any fingernails left. We're going to take questions from the audience, and I'm very grateful to you again for allowing this to happen and helping the audience to ask questions to you. But the first question I'd like to ask someone whom you've publicly acknowledged as your mentor, the person who's given you the initial push into cricket. And you know whom I'm speaking about, right? Mr. Baba Mohan. We're so proud of him being in Satyam, part of the HR team. We have to give him a big hand too, because he was instrumental in getting Lakshman into this arena, so to speak. So, Baba, do you have anything to ask Lakshman? I'm sure you have a lot of questions for him, but we'll allow you to ask one or two questions.
Yeah, Lakshman. My question to you is that I remember, when you went to South Africa, you were quite young at that time. You're doing very well. Playing in conditions in South Africa, which is not easy. And I remember, I think you were playing very well in your 30s or something when if I remember, it was Lance Klusener bowled a bouncer to you. and you tried to fend away, and then the ball hit your hand, and you were in severe pain, and you had to go out of the ground, and you fractured your arm, and you came back. I just wanted to, all of us, to hear from you how you felt at that point of time. What were your feelings that you were fractured from bouncer by a fast bowler, you were hurt, you were injured, you had to come back from a test series back to India, and what were your feelings at that point of time? And what did you do? What were your experience with your team when you had to come back with your leadership? And how did you recoup from that? And then from there on, I thought, of course, you were always a very good player of fast bowling. You really started relishing fast bowling. You play very well on bouncing tracks, especially in Australia and West Indies. I just wanted to know from you what were your feelings at that point of time, and I wanted you to share it with us.
Sure, I think it was a very disappointing moment for me because it was my fourth test match. I was playing in Joburg at the Wanderers, and I fractured my hand. In fact, it was before even opening my account, and that was a moment any cricketer would prepare for, is to represent the country, and you want to play for your country for a long time, and suddenly at the start of the fourth test itself, when you fracture and you know that you had to come back to India, missing the test series, I was really disappointed, and in fact I started crying. I remember I was in the dressing room, and the news came from the doctor that I fractured my hand and I required 4 weeks of rest to recover from that. So everyone came to know that I had to go back to India, and each one of the player came and started tapping on my shoulder and saying that it's okay, you'll be back for the next series, but I was really disappointed, and actually I was literally in tears. And when Sachin, who was the captain then, he came, and he was the last one to come, because once everyone went out of the dressing room, he was the last one to come to me and said that, it's surprising that a youngster who is just 22 and on his first tour, that was my first overseas tour with the Indian team, when a youngster fractures his hand, and he starts crying, because a lot of other cricketers he has played with actually would be happy leaving such a tough tour, so that was kind of encouragement from Sachin at that moment. And I said that, see, I always wanted to do well for the country, and when I got an opportunity, I felt at that moment that I'm going to miss something, but with experience you learn that injuries are part and parcel of a sportsman. And it's but natural that when you're playing, and that's something which is beyond your control, where you get fractured while playing a short pitch delivery. But when I came back, yes, it was disappointing, especially when you're watching your teammates play on the television, and you sit in your living room and watching them play, and you want to be in the thick of action. So, but it took time. It took me 4 to 5 weeks before I recovered totally, and the strange thing is, the next test series, I got selected, in fact, to the West Indies. I was selected as an opener, and I just fractured my hand, and I just recovered from that, and I'm going to play the new ball, especially when you have quality bowlers like Courtney Walsh and Ambrose or Bishop and Franklin Rose who are bowling at you. But that's something I always enjoyed. As my uncle asked, I always enjoyed playing fast bowling, because from my childhood, whether it be at my school or in my uncle's place, we used to play on cement wickets. And at the various practice facilities in Hyderabad, or various tournaments at the junior grade, I used to play on matting wickets. So on both these surfaces, usually the ball comes at a good pace, and also there is awkward bounce. So that's why I always loved playing fast bowling. And so from that incident in South Africa, I learned that injuries are part and parcel, but it's very important that you regroup yourself, and you focus about what's going to happen in the future, and not think too much about the injury, and just recover from that, and come back stronger the next time. But the passion for the country, or passion for representing the country, was evident to me at that moment. Because without my knowledge, I just started crying, and that shows that how much I wanted the India cap, how much I wanted to represent the country, and so that was quite encouraging when Sachin came and told and observed that point and observed that and told that it's great that someone doesn't want to leave South Africa and go back.
And that matches very well with a lot of what people say about you, that beneath that very calm exterior, there are nerves of steel and there's a very passionate spirit. And we're so glad that you bounced back and bounced back so many times in your career. Lakshman, we'll take a few questions from the audience now. Anyone who wants to ask a question, who would like to take any question? So you can just state your name. We got the first person here and then we'll come to, in this case it would be gents first.
Hi Lakshman, my name is Shoaib. Last year when you were given the charge of the Deccan Chargers team, so being a good test player and having not had the good experience in 2020 cricket, so what was your take on the 2020 cricket and leading the Deccan Chargers? And what do you think were the reasons for the dismal performance of the team?
Firstly, 2020 is a great format of cricket. Because I played 4 games of 2020 before playing the IPL. All the 4 games were played in England. I played for my county, Lancashire, and I represented Lancashire. And I really enjoyed that format. And I was really pleased when I was made the captain for IPL for Deccan Chargers. And we had a very formidable side. So firstly, to answer your first question, I was personally looking forward to do well in that tournament. Because as I said, it was a huge tournament with a lot of hype, and it was going to be a huge responsibility for everyone in the side to win the games for the team. So personally I wanted to prove myself in 2020 format, test my skill set as a 2020 player, and because everyone thought that we test players cannot fit into the 2020 scheme. But I was quite happy with the way I played in the 6 games. Unfortunately, I injured and I can fracture my hand at the end of the 6th game. But I was quite happy with the way I was adjusting to that format. And I started scoring runs at a brisk pace. I was having a strike rate of almost 120, 125, which is quite good in 2020 format. Secondly, as far as the dismal performance of the Deccan Chargers team is, unfortunately, we as a unit didn't perform. We had great players, stalwarts who have done well at international level for the various countries, who represented the countries with great distinction. But ultimately, it shows that it's not the names which are important, but it shows that it's a contribution from each one of us, which makes a difference for the team. So it was unfortunate that we were not able to perform and play to our potential. But saying that, I'm sure that in the second edition we'll definitely play to our potential and give a better performance for the team and the Hyderabad crowd.
Thanks very much, Lakshman. We are hoping for the best for the next outing of the Deccan Chargers. We're already flooded with stickers all around the place. I am charged, that's what the stickers say. Our next question is from Anu Kendri, and over to you, Anu.
Yeah, hi Lakshman, thanks for talking to us. My question is about the various captains that you worked with in the cricket team. What is the difference in their leadership styles, and what do you have to do to adapt to that?
I think when you're playing for a team, it's bound to happen where you play under different captains, especially when you played for almost 12 to 15 years at the international level. And I firmly believe that every captain has got a different leadership skills. He comes with a different kind of skill set. Some are aggressive, some are cool and calm, but still internally aggressive. But when you represent the country, we all feel that everyone in the team is like a leader, because we all in the Indian team have performed for our states at various age group level, and have come through the ranks of playing for under 16s, under 19s, under 22s, and then you get picked for the country. So everyone in the team are like a leader, and so everyone contributes, because I firmly believe that the more number of leaders are there in the team, the more number of ideas come out, and you can prepare much better, and you can. I firmly believe that you can help the team to perform with distinction. So I think I started off under Sachin, who was very calm, at the same time very, very passionate, because I mean he set a different kind of standards himself. So sometimes he felt that the other guys around him also should meet the same kind of standards. So he wanted the best out of everyone. So, but he was very, very calm and encouraging, and made others very, very comfortable. And then I had Azhar, who was the captain, who was not, I would say, his communication wouldn't be as good, but saying that he used to lead by example, and he used to be calm again. And most of these guys, I mean, then comes Saurav, then comes Rahul, then comes Anil, then comes MS at the moment. So everyone, I've got a different kind of leadership skills, but important thing for a leader is the man management, especially when you're the captain of the country. It's all about managing your players and making sure that they are mentally ready for the game, so, and making sure that each one is given a certain role, which is so important. If an individual in the team can stick to his role and can perform his role with distinction, it's but natural that the team does well, because each individual is doing his role and performing his role to perfection. So I think that's what a captain does in the team, where he assigns a particular kind of role to each individual depending on their skill set and depending on their strong points or temperament. And the players just go out and try and do that.
Very true. And Anu was just saying, you can say that in the mic, Anu, and that really wraps it up.
I think this resonates perfectly with Satyam, because what we say is every Satyamite is a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so the reason why I'm here is my uncle Baba, who is my mentor, is part of Satyam, and he's so passionate about Satyam. So I'm sure that all the associates of Satyam are very passionate, and that's one of the reasons why I came here. So it's very important that each member of the Satyam family thinks that he is a leader, and that's how, and performs his role with distinction, and that's how the company will flourish in future.
Thank you. Renu, you have a question? I can see the mic in your hand. Yeah. So let's
Thanks, Lakshman. I think that was a very good reply. What Satyam is going through right now is perhaps all the individuals of Satyam are also going through it. You in your career have also gone through lots of lows and highs. I would be more interested in knowing how have you handled the lows, the disappointments in your life, and what message would you like to give to the Satyamites here?
To start off, I would just like to give a little bit of background. I always wanted to become a doctor, but along with being passionate about being a doctor, I also was very passionate about cricket. And luckily my uncle, my mentor, he was the one who identified my potential, and he was the one who helped me in taking the decision of taking cricket as a profession. The moment I took cricket as a profession, there was only one single objective, one single goal for me, that is to represent the country. And my father always taught me that irrespective of what profession you take, you have to glorify that. So right from my 17th year, that was the time when I took a decision that I'll take cricket as a profession. My only aim and objective and the goal was to represent the country with distinction and serve or perform for the country in the maximum capacity I could do, and play and perform to my potential. So my motivation was that I have to play for the country and do well for the country and win matches for the country, and that was the only motivation. So there were times when I had some low points in my career. There were times when I was dropped from the team, and there were times when I thought that I should have been there in the team, but I was dropped. So during that situation, the only motivation for me was I have to get back on track. Yes, I introspect what went wrong. I introspect my shortcomings, and then I analyze the way I could come back. Sit with my uncle, sit with my coaches, and understand where I went wrong, and then work towards it and become a better player and come back strongly into the team. But the biggest motivation was to play for the country, and that motivation always kept me going. and coming back on the right track whenever I was off it.
That's a very good message, Lakshman. And I think the way you take simple pride in just being part of the team, representing the country, there's a lesson in it for all of us. I mean, we've got to take pride in the fact that we belong to this company and be proud and that we're representing this company even in these troubled times. So thank you for that question, Dr. Renu Khanna. And I want to ask if anyone else has a question. Yes, sir. Could you just identify yourself and then ask the question?
Hello, Lakshman. This is Hemant Kakodia. Actually, there are two questions. First one is that from where you got inspiration to come up in this game, and the second one is which one is your favorite One Day International, Test Series, and a 2020, and why?
I got the inspiration, like any kid in India, I used to love the game, and I used to play with my brother, play in my neighborhood, play in the school. So, I mean, I was quite passionate, and cricket was more like a hobby. But as I said earlier, that it was my uncle who was instrumental in making sure that I take cricket as a profession. Even though I had a lot of doubts myself at that age of 15, 16, but probably my uncle knew the potential in me, and he had more confidence and more belief in my abilities than myself. And so it was him who actually decided for me that I should play cricket and take cricket as a profession. And luckily for me, my parents never objected that. So I think that's how I got into the game of cricket in the professional manner. Secondly, which of these three formats you love? I love all the three, to be very honest, because it brings out different kind of skill set when you're playing these formats. I mean, in test matches, everyone knows that there's a lot of test of your skill as far as your technique is concerned, because sometimes it's not only about surviving for a longer duration, which is so important in test match, where you have to play and get big knocks. But all the purists say that test match cricket is nothing but it's a test of skill or a character of a player. So that's why I like, because every cricketer, if you ask which is the best format they like, they would definitely say test match cricket, and they get the satisfaction if they do well in the test matches. Saying that one day is again a different kind of skill set you require, but after 2020, not many people love playing one days, and I also agree with that, because given a choice between 2020 and one days, I would choose 2020, because I think it's quite entertaining for you as a player or even for the spectators, because they've actually cut down the boring part of one day cricket, which is from the 28th over to the 45th over, and they've actually put the first 15 overs, which is the power play, and the last 5 overs, and everyone loves watching the batsman hit a 6, hit a 4, and so I think I prefer 2020 than one day cricket. But when you do well in all three formats of the game, I think you will be very, very satisfied and contented as a cricketer, because as a cricketer, you prepare yourself to adjust and adapt to various situations you are in, and all these three formats give you, or you put you in a position where your different kind of skill sets come into play. So I think performing in all the three formats will give a lot of satisfaction to any cricketer.
Do you think 2020 World Cup is going to be more popular than the One Day International World Cup? What do you personally feel?
No doubt about that. There's no doubt
so?
about that. Yeah, 2020 is the future of cricket. So I foresee where in the years to come it will be only 2020 and Test match cricket. Unfortunately, the one days will die down, and there is a lot of. I think there is a lot of scope for 2020 to become. Ultimately, cricket is a sport, and it's a form of entertainment. And I think you get full worth for your money and value for your money in 2020, where it's not only entertainment, not only on the field, but off the field also.
And because of your legendary ability to analyze, I'm going to take your opinion for it and believe in that. I think so too, that 2020 is going to become more popular. And you mentioned about your uncle getting you into this cricket, believing in you. So I want to ask this next question to him. If you don't mind, we're going to put him a little bit on the spot. We're going to bowl a bouncer to you. And so, Baba Mohan, what exactly did you see in Lakshman at that point of time? He says around 15 to 16 years old. And you gave him that initial push and brought him into cricket.
Thanks, Pramod. As I'm known as Baba KR in Satyam. See, it's like this. Lakshman keeps giving me a lot of credit. But to be very honest, I am trying to make my son a cricketer. I'm failing at that. So it's actually Lakshman is talent. Bottom line, it is a passion that he had for the game. And the way he used to be obsessed to become a good cricketer, the love for the game was too much in him. And all I saw in him was a talent. And I was so confident when I was playing with him right from childhood that here is a very talented cricketer who will play for India. Right from his very childhood, even before he went to the coaching camp, the spark was there in him, the talent was there in him. He was a natural stroke player. So when the coaching camp came just next door, St. John's coaching camp, I took him on the very first day, and he came all the way from Nampally. Let's not forget that. He took a bus, came all the way from Nampally. He was just around 10 years old at that time, 10 or 11 years old.
I think that deserves a big applause.
And he came all alone. He took a bus and came. I took him to the coaching camp on the very first day. Narasimha Rao was who started the coaching camp, who played for India. When I went back to bring him, because home was next door, his immediate reaction was, we have got a very talented cricketer, he's a very skillful cricketer. So the talent existed, and then obviously, you need to follow it up. As a mentor, you need to follow it up, and which I did definitely. Even now I do. Even now I tell him what he needs to do when he goes to New Zealand. So it continues. It's a continuous process. Whether he wants it or not, I keep getting after him, really getting after him. And I can tell you one thing, he's a very good listener. He follows good advice. He's very disciplined. He's very passionate. I've not seen somebody who's so committed to the game. And no distractions, total focus. So that's all I have to say. But so that for every mentor, there has to be a good mentee. Only then it will work together. Having said this, Lakshman, I wanted to ask you a question. You have worked with various coaches. You worked with John Wright. You worked with Greg Chappell. You worked with Gary Kirsten. What are the different styles these coaches bring to the table, and how do they coach you people in the game of cricket? How do they motivate you? What did you see, the good points? Let's not take the bad points. The good points in each of these three people whom I just mentioned. And how do, apart from the coaches, the other people like the physiotherapists, all the support people, what is the role that they play? Basically they are the parachute keepers. They make the parachutes, just like Satyam School of Leadership, the human resources, the finance, all the support function in Satyam, we make the parachutes for our billable associates to do their real job on field. So, but these are the main people who make the parachutes. Similarly, what did you see in these people? What roles did they play? What were their styles, and how did you see them play their roles?
To start off with John Wright. I think John Wright came in a time when Indian cricket was in a mess, especially after the match fixing scandal, and we had a new leader in Saurav, and I think the combination of Saurav and John Wright changed Indian cricket for good, and that he was the first foreign coach. So the first reaction after meeting the Indian boys was that he was surprised with our preparation for a test match or any game, and with our work ethics, the way the Indian team used to function. So I think he got in a lot of team spirit within the team, because till then I think there was a lot of hierarchy system in the team where there's a lot of juniors and seniors. And I remember one incident when his first assignment, his first test match as a coach for the country, and we were playing Zimbabwe in Delhi, and we had SS Das who was making his debut at that moment, and he reached his 50, his first maiden 50, and not many of us actually came out and clapped for him, and that really amused John Wright, and he came and actually shouted at the boys, saying that, I mean, he didn't understand how the team functioned when a debutant gets a 50 and not many of the team guys actually come and applaud his efforts. So that's what he brought to the table, where he got in a lot of passion within the team, and he wanted to improve the work ethics, and got in professionalism, and which he was very good himself. I mean, he was a very hardworking coach, and a very hardworking man as far as making sure that each cricketer, each team guy, gets fully prepared for the test match. I mean, coaches are more, I wouldn't like to go too much detail into John Wright, Greg Chappell, or Gary Kirsten, because all of them had their own success, all of them also had their bit of failures. But the general idea of coaches at the moment in world cricket, or which we experience as international cricket, is they are more like friends, and they are more like someone who makes sure that the cricketers are well prepared to take on the cricket field, and they believe that their inputs is making sure that they give all the necessary facilities, number one, making sure that the senior most cricketer to the junior most cricketer gets the kind of practice which he wants. Like, if, for example, if suppose I have, as I said earlier, that I have got a certain routine, the way I prepare before a match, so he'll make sure that I go through that routine, so that, and in whatever capacity he'll come and make sure that I do that routine, and I am mentally ready for the test match. So it's more about getting the team ready for the test match. And here and there, whenever a player has got some technical questions about technique, or questions about probably, the way he's not handling a certain bowler, or the way he's not handling a certain situation, the coaches come in to play, where they try and first understand the problem, and second try and give suggestions to the player, but never force the solution on the player. So I think it's a very good way of a very good relationship between the coach and the player, which is so important. And secondly, regarding the physiotherapist or the trainer, cricket is quite a hectic game now, where you play so many games throughout the year. So obviously it's ultimately a human body. So it's but natural that you get a lot of injuries, and none of the cricketers are 100% fit when they take on the cricket field. Some of them, even with 80% fitness, they still go and play, because ultimately you're representing your country, and pain is not a barrier which takes away, which does not allow you to play for the country. So until and unless it's a situation or injury which doesn't allow you to go onto the field at all, then otherwise most of the players play with niggles, and the physiotherapist helps in making sure that the niggle is managed properly, either by say treatment before the match, or say some kind of strapping. So various kind of various kind of exercises, making sure that the player is ready for the match and is comfortable enough to play the cricket game. And then the trainer makes sure that we are concentrating on a fitness, because the more fit you are, the better you can recover and play well for your country. So the trainer, even though we are playing cricket day in and day out, he makes sure that he has got training schedules which help the cricketer to at least maintain his fitness levels during the season. So I think, as Baba said, that it's very important that all the support staff and the coaching staff play their role, because it's the success of the team doesn't depend only on the cricketers, but all these people behind the scenes are important, and their role is very, very important, making sure that the cricketers are best prepared for the match. But sometimes, sometimes it's always very thankless jobs, because ultimately the cricketers get the credit for what they do, but all these people effort sometimes go unnoticed, but all these people definitely deserve huge praise from everyone, and the kind of hard work they put day in and day out is amazing to see. And sometimes it really motivates us that when a coach or physiotherapist or a trainer are trying their best to make sure that we should be ready for the game. So even though you may sometimes be mentally fatigued to take on the cricket field, but you keep yourself motivated seeing the kind of passion these guys have. And we are lucky to have some very good coaches who coach the team.
I like the way you brought out very expertly the difference between the captain and the coach and the physiotherapist and all these support people and how they have a role. Very interesting. And this could be one of our last questions because we're running out of time. So we have one person waiting there, and since Lakshman was talking about a coach, we have an executive coach with the School of Leadership, and that's Pawan. And Pawan, you have a question for us.
Sure. Thanks, Pramod. Thanks, Lakshman. My question to you is, Indian cricket has been through some controversies and scandals, especially the match-fixing scam. You've always been hailed as a true gentleman cricketer, and you have handled these controversies and come out with a dignified personal brand. How do you manage to come out with such a dignified personal brand during the thick of these controversies?
Controversial question.
I think I have to give a lot of credit to my parents because upbringing plays a huge role in this, and the value system which I was inculcated right from my childhood has helped me to stay away from all the distractions, and as I said earlier that I'm very passionate about representing the country, and that was only my goal, and only my objective, and I didn't want any distractions, whether I'm part of that or whether I'm not part of that, to be affecting my ambition of representing the country for a long time. So I think upbringing and value systems are very, very important in any walk of life, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud, to be the son of such distinguished people who have carried themselves so well in the society. Both my parents are doctors, and both my parents are known for their value system and the kind of dedication or service they do in the field of medicine. So I think it definitely boils down to your upbringing.
Well said, Lakshman. We've all admired you, how you've came across the thick of all these gruesome scandals with such a squeaky clean image. So we are winding up now, and I have just one last question for you, and that is, Lakshman, what next? I mean, what do you foresee as the future? For one thing, personally, I'd like to see you in the World Cup. But what do you think as your future plans?
See, at the moment, I'm concentrating on the New Zealand tour. It's going to be a very important tour for us because we've not played too many test matches in New Zealand. And over our careers, most of our careers, we have done well overseas, where we won matches in most of the countries. We've traveled and become a better touring side now. But I think New Zealand will be the last challenge because we won matches in places like South Africa, West Indies, England, Australia. So we would like to win the series in New Zealand. So that's going to be my immediate target. Secondly, I think we all want to be the #1 test playing nation in the world. So I think if in that process, if I can contribute and achieve that, I will be really pleased. Yeah, personal milestones are very important, but for me, more than the personal milestones, I will be really happy if I end up my test career being part of the #1 test playing nation in world cricket. That will give me more satisfaction.
Great, well said, Lakshman. If there's anyone who can make that happen, I believe it is you,
Thank you.
personally. And Lakshman, on closing, I'd like you, this is not a question, but there's a request for you. Is there any message that you'd like to give to Satyamites? You know what we've been through, and that's why we really loved when you came over, because we know you've been through a lot of ups and downs too, and so what kind of message would you give to Satyam, who's listening?
Yeah, it's unfortunate what has happened in the last 2-3 months, but saying that, I think all the associates of Satyam should feel proud that they have achieved so much in the past 1 or 2 decades, and they are one of the leading software service providers in the country. And wherever I go, say in places like Australia, the name of Satyam actually people talk a lot, you know, and they always tell me, oh, you're from a place where Satyam actually originated. So I think it always makes you proud, you know, when a company from your city or your place actually makes a name for itself in world. So yeah, it's going to be a tough phase, but I firmly believe that with the kind of passion all the associates of Satyam have, and the kind of energy, kind of positivism all the associates of Satyam have, they can definitely overcome this small hurdle or obstacle. And they should be remembering what they have achieved in the past, and they should be remembering that what is their goal, what is their objective. And I'm sure their objective is to be the #1 say software service provider in world. So I think if they can remember that, and each one can do their role with distinction, I'm sure that each one contribution will help Satyam to grow in stature and definitely bounce back from the temporary obstacle which they are having at the moment. And I've got no doubt that there will be a lot of successes in the future. And I wish them all the very best, and by God's grace, I'm sure that they will overcome this obstacle and come back strongly. In cricketing terms, we call that come back strongly. So they'll definitely come back strongly, bounce back strongly, and definitely achieve their goal. And I wish them all the very best.
Thank you very, very much, Lakshman. You're a very, very special person to us. And just as we are proud of you, we assure you we'll do our best to continue to make you feel proud of us. So I'll request you to give a standing ovation to Lakshman, and I request Shobana from our strategic communications team to come over and hand over a small token of our appreciation from Satyam Learning World and HR to Lakshman. Thank you very much, crowd. You've been really good. Thank you.
Cheers.